the beginning of the silence. Believe it or not, when he doesn't call or message you, it means far more than you've been told. You sit there, phone in hand. The screen remains dark. No message, no call. Hours stretch into days. The silence is deafening, yet your mind screams louder. Why hasn't he reached out? Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? Everyone around you offers the same simple answer. If he wanted to, he would. If he cares, he would call. They say it with such confidence, as if male behavior is that straightforward. As if silence always means rejection. As if absence always equals lack of love. But what if I told you that this is a lie? Male silence holds layers of complexity, rooted not just in emotions, but in psychology, social conditioning, and ancient patterns within the human psyche itself. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds of modern psychology, once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." The anxiety you feel in the face of his silence isn't simply about him. It's a mirror reflecting your own internal landscape, your insecurities, your fears, your longing for certainty, your unspoken need for validation. For years, women have been taught to misinterpret male silence. They've been told that if a man truly cares, he'll pursue relentlessly, message daily, offer constant reassurance. They've been conditioned to believe that love is measured by consistency of communication, frequency of texts, and speed of replies. And because of that conditioning, his silence triggers something deeper inside you. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of losing control. But let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, not intellectually, but emotionally. The last time he didn't message you for 2 days, did you remain centered? Did you avoid obsessively checking your phone? Did you stop yourself from spiraling into worst-case scenarios? Or did your energy shift? Did you start analyzing every previous conversation, every tiny detail, searching for clues? If your answer is no, if you recognize that inner turmoil, then you are exactly where you need to be right now. Because today, we're going to dismantle the myths. We're going to go far beyond superficial dating advice. We're going to explore the hidden layers beneath male silence through the lens of Jungian psychology, Stoic philosophy, and the very nature of human attachment. When a man pulls away, when he doesn't call or message, your first instinct is often to close the gap, to reach out, to fill the void. But his silence isn't always a test of his feelings sometimes. It's an unconscious test of your own emotional self-sufficiency. Many men, whether consciously or not, observe how you respond when they distance themselves. Not to be cruel, not always with malice, but because human beings are drawn to see where their power lies in a dynamic. When you chase after him in his silence, when you lose your center in his absence, you reveal that your emotional state is tethered to his presence. But when you remain grounded, when you continue to live your life fully, even as he remains silent, that is where your power lies, and that power is magnetic, unforgettable. Male silence can mean many things. Sometimes, yes, it signals disinterest. Other times, it reflects emotional overwhelm, compartmentalization, or his own journey of self-processing. But no matter the reason, the most important factor isn't why he's silent. It's how you respond to that silence dot in the next hour. We'll guide you through real-life stories, psychological frameworks, and timeless Stoic wisdom to help you see male silence not as a threat, but as an opportunity to reclaim your peace, to build your inner world so strong, no man's absence can destabilize it. Stay with me. What you're about to hear might challenge everything you've been taught about relationships, but if you allow it, it might also set you free. Story 1, The Silent Storm. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah is 34 years old. She's built a career she's proud of, leads a small marketing team, owns her own apartment, and has a circle of friends who love her deeply. On the surface, Sarah appears unshakable, confident, independent, in control. But like so many women who walk into the world with fierce ambition and grace, she carries an invisible vulnerability, one that only reveals itself in moments like this. She met Daniel 6 months ago. Their chemistry was undeniable. Long conversations spilled into the early morning hours, playful text exchanges, romantic dinners, late-night confessions about childhood dreams and hidden fears. Daniel wasn't just another date. He felt different. For the first time in a long time, Sarah allowed herself to soften. She let her walls down, little by little. She didn't want to admit it to anyone, but deep inside, she was beginning to hope. Perhaps, finally, this was the man who wouldn't vanish. The man who wouldn't turn cold after intimacy. The man who wouldn't disappear when things became real. And for a while, Daniel didn't disappoint. He was attentive, present, affectionate. He texted her good morning, checked in during the day, called her before bed. He made her feel seen, chosen. But then, something shifted. There was no fight. No obvious change. Just silence. One evening, she sent him a lighthearted message. Had the craziest meeting today. Remind me to tell you about it. No reply. Hours passed. She checked her phone again. Still nothing. It's okay, she told herself. He's probably busy. The next day arrived. Still no response. Her mind began its descent into uncertainty. Thoughts crept in, uninvited and persistent. Did I say something wrong? Is he upset? Is he losing interest? By the third day, Sarah's composure began to crack. She scrolled through their message history, reading and rereading every exchange, analyzing every word, every emoji, every punctuation mark, desperate to locate some hidden clue that could explain his sudden withdrawal. Her friends offered well-meaning but shallow advice. If he's not calling, forget him. You deserve better. Just move on. But their words did little to quiet the storm inside her. Because for Sarah, this wasn't just about Daniel. It was about something deeper. The familiar fear she thought she had conquered long ago, the fear of being unwanted, the fear of loving more than being loved, the fear of once again being invisible. At work, Sarah performed as if nothing was wrong. She led meetings, responded to emails, hit deadlines. But in between, she checked her phone every few minutes, watching the little screen with desperate anticipation. Each time it stayed silent, her stomach twisted a little more. Then came the narrative building, that inner dialogue so many women know all too well. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I came on too strong. I shouldn't have texted him first. I should have waited for him to reach out. I knew better than to trust so quickly. He must be seeing someone else. Why does this always happen to me? The silence had become unbearable, not because of Daniel's absence, but because of the war unfolding inside Sarah's own mind. Sarah's pain wasn't simply triggered by Daniel's silence. It was amplified by years of cultural programming and unhealed wounds. From a young age, she had been taught that male attention equals worth, that if a man wants you, he pursues you, that true love means constant communication and reassurance, and that if he's distant, it's your fault. You're not pretty enough, not interesting enough, not valuable enough. This is the quiet indoctrination so many women carry into adulthood without realizing it. And so, every time a man pulls away, that old story reactivates. The silence becomes more than silence. It becomes proof of inadequacy. What Sarah didn't yet understand is that Daniel's silence wasn't necessarily about her. Sometimes, yes, silence reveals disinterest. But often, it reflects something much more complex, something rooted not in rejection, but in male psychology itself. In the way many men process emotions, stress, and vulnerability differently than women do. Daniel, like many men, had his own internal world, pressures at work, financial concerns, personal insecurities, family obligations, unspoken fears about commitment, intimacy, or losing independence. When overwhelmed, many men do not seek connection. They withdraw, they compartmentalize, they disappear into their own heads, not out of cruelty, but out of habit, out of programming. Carl Jung referred to this as the shadow self, the hidden parts of us that retreat when we feel vulnerable or exposed. For men raised in cultures that discourage emotional expression, withdrawal becomes a form of protection. But Sarah didn't know any of this. All she felt was the ache of his absence. On the fourth day, unable to bear it any longer, she sent another message. "Hey, just checking in. Hope everything's okay." The message was light, polite, nonchalant on the surface. But beneath it lay desperation, a silent plea. "Please remind me that I matter to you." Daniel finally responded a few hours later. "Hey, sorry, work's been crazy this week. I'll call you tomorrow." Relief washed over her. The knot in her stomach loosened for now, but what Sarah didn't see was the larger pattern she was unintentionally reinforcing. Every time she reached out during his silence, she was teaching him something. My emotional stability depends on your attention. And this is where so many women, like Sarah, unknowingly give their power away. When a man senses that his absence destabilizes you even unconsciously, it shifts the dynamic. The center of gravity moves toward him. He becomes the emotional anchor, not through his presence, but through your dependence on it. It's not manipulation, at least not always. It's human nature. When someone chases, the other naturally steps back. When someone fills the silence, the other feels no need to. And so the cycle continues. Sarah's story is not unique. It's the story of millions of women, strong, intelligent, capable women who crumble in the face of male silence, not because they're weak, but because no one ever taught them how to remain powerful in uncertainty. Because society never showed them how to stand still in the void without reaching for something or someone to hold on to. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your power is not determined by who reaches out to you. It's determined by who you are when they don't. And that, my friend, is where real transformation begins. The psychology behind his silence. We live in a world that demands answers, instant communication, immediate responses. In that world, male silence feels not just confusing, but unbearable. To understand why a man sometimes retreats into silence, we must journey beneath the surface and step into his inner world, a world shaped by biology, society, unconscious patterns, and ancient psychological forces. Carl Jung and the shadow self. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow self, hidden, unconscious part of the psyche where we store the emotions, desires, and fears we've learned to repress. For many men, society teaches early. Don't cry. Don't show weakness. Handle your problems on your own. Vulnerability becomes failure. Emotional expression is labeled feminine. Over time, emotions like fear, anxiety, sadness, and confusion are banished into the shadow, but emotions don't disappear. They wait, and when triggered, they emerge not as open dialogue, but often as withdrawal, as silence. The compartmentalization instinct. Many women process emotions relationally by talking, sharing, seeking connection, while many men default to compartmentalization. When facing stress, uncertainty, or emotional discomfort, men often box those experiences away, placing them on mental shelves they revisit privately. In times of high-pressure career stress, family obligations, their relational capacity shrinks, not from lack of care, but from mental bandwidth consumed by immediate challenges. I'll reach out when I've handled this, they think. For them, silence is not absence of care, but a way to buy time to recalibrate. The fear of emotional dependency. Another layer to male silence is the fear of losing control. When feelings deepen, some men instinctively pull back, testing not only their emotions, but their sense of independence. Their silence becomes a way of regaining perceived autonomy, because caring too much feels dangerous to a psyche trained to equate vulnerability with weakness. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Many men live in that unconscious pattern. The 6 silent triggers. Though every man is different, 6 common internal triggers often underlie male silence. 1. Overwhelm, career stress, financial instability, family pressure when life becomes too much. He internalizes burdens, believing expressing stress makes him weak. 2. Fear of commitment. As feelings intensify, he fears losing freedom, being tied down, or failing in long-term expectations. Silence offers a temporary escape. 3. Insecurity and shame. Deep-rooted insecurities, feeling inadequate financially, sexually, or emotionally lead him to withdraw to protect his self-image. 4. Testing the dynamic. Some men, consciously or not, pull back to observe whether you chase or crumble, assessing emotional control in the dynamic. 5. Emotional immaturity. Lacking training in emotional regulation, he shuts down when faced with conflict or discomfort, leaving you confused and hurt. 6. Loss of interest. The hardest truth. Sometimes silence reflects genuine disinterest. The spark has faded, and instead of honest communication, he chooses passive withdrawal. The male silence paradox. While his silence may originate from internal struggles, for you, it still feels like abandonment. Women experience distance as rejection. Men often experience distance as comfort. This fundamental misunderstanding creates a dangerous dance. His withdrawal triggers your pursuit, and your pursuit triggers further withdrawal. Why he feels safe in silence. For many men, silence is familiar. They've lived in emotional silence most of their lives. Your distress may confuse him. Why is she so upset? I'm just processing. He doesn't always realize his silence triggers a storm inside you, because for him, silence feels safe, not threatening. The Stoic alternative. Stoicism teaches you cannot control what others do. You can only control your response. When he pulls away, your power lies not in closing the distance, but in holding your center. Breathe deeply. Resist the urge to chase. Allow him space without surrendering your peace, and remind yourself, his silence is his responsibility. My stability is mine. This is not cold detachment or manipulation, but emotional sovereignty, the unspoken test. For some men, silence is an unintentional test, not of your love, but of your independence. Will you panic? Will you lose your self-respect to pull him closer? Or will you remain steady, living fully with or without his presence? The woman who masters this response is unforgettable. The real power shift. Male silence reveals less about his feelings than about your relationship with yourself. If his absence dismantles your peace, the problem isn't his silence, but your need for external validation. Reverse that dynamic. Use his silence as an invitation to deepen your self-care, strengthen your passions, and build your world, and you become unshakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not in controlling him, not in decoding him, but in mastering yourself." Stoicism in holding your center. Imagine a tree standing tall in the middle of a storm. The winds howl, the rain lashes, the thunder cracks, but the tree remains rooted. It bends, but it does not break. That image is the essence of Stoicism. In relationships, especially facing male silence, your world may feel like that storm. His withdrawal stirs your insecurities. His absence triggers your fears. His silence whispers stories of rejection, unworthiness, and abandonment. Stoicism teaches you to become like that tree. Bend when needed, never break, remain anchored in your own sense of self, regardless of what others do or fail to do. What is Stoicism really? Stoicism is not emotional coldness or indifference. It is not denial of emotions, but mastery of them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You cannot control whether he texts you today or tomorrow. You can only control your response. In that space lies your true power." The three circles of control. Stoics divide life into three domains. 1. What you control entirely. 2. What you influence partially. 3. What is completely outside your control. His silence, outside your control. Your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, entirely within your control. Suffering arises when we chase what isn't ours. Freedom comes when we focus on our circle. The silent invitation. Every time he withdraws, you face. 2 doors. Chase, worry, lose yourself, or turn inward. Strengthen yourself, expand your life. Stoicism invites you through door 2. Instead of asking, "Why isn't he reaching out?" ask, "What can I give myself today?" Redirect energy toward growth. Read, create, connect, move. Don't carry what isn't yours. Don't carry. What isn't yours is a powerful Stoic teaching. His struggles, confusion, fear, silence, they are not yours. You may empathize, but you do not carry those burdens. Your responsibility is your own equilibrium. That separates strong women from anxious ones, not feeling less, but refusing to lose themselves. The fear of letting go. Many women fear that if they don't chase, they'll lose him. But paradoxically, the woman who waits anxiously pushes him further away. The woman who remains steady draws him back. Confidence, wholeness, and emotional sovereignty are magnetic. A man senses when you do not need him to feel whole. Building the Stoic mindset. 1. Master the pause. Before reacting, pause, breathe. Ask, is this action driven by fear or peace? 2. Detach your worth from his actions. His silence does not define you. Repeat daily, his actions do not define me. 3. Expand your life beyond him. Build friendships, hobbies, career. Self-care. Make your life so vibrant, his silence cannot shake you. 4. Practice emotional non-attachment. Hold space for possibility without outcomes. Offer love freely without begging for it. 5. Embrace solitude as power. Silence is space to meet yourself. Journal, reflect, reconnect with your values. When compassion meets boundaries. Stoicism does not ask you to be cold. You can hold compassion for his struggles and boundaries for your peace. You do not have to tolerate indefinite silence or lose yourself in emotional immaturity. The true test of strength. The ultimate Stoic test is not keeping a man, but keeping yourself. Can you hold peace in uncertainty? Can you trust your worth without reassurance? Can you walk away from dynamics that drain you? That is true strength. From chasing to choosing. When you live from your center, you stop chasing confusing patterns and start choosing emotionally available partners who match your energy. Not your wounds. Silence as your greatest teacher. Every time a man goes silent, it is a classroom. Will you panic or rise? His silence mirrors where your inner work lies, healing abandonment wounds, releasing control, cultivating joy, trusting your path. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Master your reaction, and no man's silence can break you again. Sarah's choice, the shift in attitude. When we last left Sarah, she was trapped in an emotional storm. Silence from Daniel amplified her fears and doubts. But 9 days after his last message, something shifted. Exhausted by obsessive thoughts and constant checking, Sarah sat on her couch, phone in hand, and whispered, "This isn't about him anymore. This is about me." For the first time, she saw her pattern: anxious reaching, emotional spiraling, endless speculation, erosion of ava. Self-worth. She asked her most powerful question: what if I choose differently? Not out of anger or pride, but out of peace. She did nothing, no text, no call. She simply paused, breathing through rising anxiety. The next morning, she went for a sunrise walk, allowing the cool air and quiet streets to clear her mind. Back home, she opened her journal and wrote about herself, her goals, her dreams, the projects she had delayed, passions buried under relationship anxiety. Page after page, she rediscovered parts of herself. Sarah redirected her energy. A weekend trip with college friends, a photography class, new creative pitches at work, reconnection with yoga. With each action, the tight knot in her chest loosened, the urge to check her phone diminished, the emotional fog lifted. On the 15th day of silence, Daniel texted, "Hey, sorry I've been distant. Work's been insane. How have you been?" Sarah smiled, not from relief but from recognition. His return no longer defined her. She had built a life so vibrant during his absence that his reappearance felt like a small ripple in a much larger ocean. Her reply was grounded. "Hey, Daniel. I've been doing really well. Life's been full lately, lots of exciting things happening. Hope everything's okay on your end." She did not ask why he'd gone silent, demand explanations, or beg for validation, because she didn't need it. She no longer operated from scarcity, but from fullness. What Sarah achieved is rare: loving without being needy, caring without collapsing, holding space for others without losing herself. This is the essence of Stoicism in love: grace under uncertainty, strength within vulnerability, fullness within solitude. She hadn't become indifferent, she had become complete. Every woman facing male silence must ask herself, do I want to spend my life managing someone else's emotional absence? Or do I want to build a life so rich that anyone who joins me simply adds to an already beautiful journey? That question marks the essence of personal power. Male silence is a mirror reflecting your relationship with yourself. Master that relationship, and you become unstoppable. The painful truths we avoid. There comes a point when every woman must confront a painful truth. Male silence doesn't always carry hidden complexity. Sometimes it means exactly what you fear, means no longer being invested. This is neither easy nor comforting, but it is necessary. Real power comes from facing truth fully, standing tall, and choosing not to crumble. When silence is disinterest. Not all men withdraw to process emotions. Sometimes they simply do not care enough to engage. Their silence is not a puzzle to decode. It's a clear message. I am not prioritizing you. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you stop fighting for something that no longer serves you. The enemy is not rejection, it's attachment. It is not rejection itself that hurts most, but your attachment to who you wanted him to be. Potential you projected onto him. The story you wrote in your head. Attachment, not loss, is the root of suffering. You grieve not the person, but the illusion you held. Why we cling to what doesn't serve us. Strong, intelligent women cling to unavailable men because of two forces. The scarcity illusion. When love feels scarce, any connection seems precious, and the ego's need to win when a man withdraws. Your pride feels wounded, and you believe winning him back will validate your worth. But needing to win means you've already lost yourself. The danger of excusing his behavior. Culture romanticizes emotional unavailability. He's just scared of how much he loves you. While emotional struggles can be real, Using them as permanent excuses is dangerous. At some point, you must stop diagnosing his silence and start observing his actions. If he consistently fails to make space, that pattern matters more than any explanation. Understanding does not equal tolerance. You can empathize with his trauma and fear of intimacy and still say, "This behavior is unacceptable for my life." Your role is not to fix him, but to honor yourself. The lie of trying harder, believing that loving him enough will change him, is a trap. Healthy men do not require persuasion to communicate or be present. Love is not something you convince someone into. Rejection is divine protection. Sometimes the universe protects you by removing someone before deeper heartbreak arrives. His silence may sting now, but later you may feel gratitude that life spared you greater pain. What true love actually looks like. True love is consistency, transparency, emotional safety, mutual effort, open, honest conversations. Anything less is attachment disguised as love, the courage to release. Walking away from someone who cannot meet you emotionally is an act of deep courage, choosing short-term pain over long-term suffering. Loneliness for a season over emptiness for a lifetime. You deserve someone who chooses you fully, not someone who makes you question where you stand. The woman who frees herself. The woman who suffers for years, clings to illusions. The one who heals quickly surrenders to reality. The second frees space for the right one, not by chasing, but by choosing. When you release your attachment to unavailable men, your life shifts. You stop tolerating crumbs, stop rationalizing poor behavior, stop shrinking yourself. Instead, you raise your standards, ground yourself in your worth, and attract emotionally available partners. Like when you embody wholeness, you draw partners who meet you there. Let us not romanticize male silence. It is either a temporary process navigated with respect or a chronic pattern reflecting emotional limitations. You cannot control which he chooses, but you can control whether you participate. Your greatest act of self-love may be walking away before you. Lose yourself entirely. Practical steps to return to yourself. Understanding male silence is powerful, but transformation requires action. Here are 8 practical steps to reclaim your center every time you feel destabilized. 1. Pause before you react. When you feel the urge to text, call, or check your phone, observe the urge without judgment. Take a deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and remind yourself, my worth does not live inside his silence. This pause creates the space to choose peace over panic. 2. Redirect your focus. An idle mind drifts into anxiety. Instead of worst-case scenarios, redirect toward growth. Complete a work task, tidy your space, listen to an inspiring podcast, pick up a hobby, or read a challenging book. This is not avoidance, but constructive redirection. 3. Check in with yourself. When emotions rise, ask, what do I need right now? Not from him, but from yourself. Do you need rest, movement, connection with friends, nourishment, or stillness? Then give yourself exactly that. 4. Journal your emotions. Writing helps process feelings without impulsive action. Name your emotions: anxiety, disappointment, longing. Express your fears, and end each session with an empowering affirmation, such as, even in uncertainty, I am whole. 5. Reconnect with your bigger vision. When silence consumes you, your personal vision has shrunk. Around the relationship. Expand it. List postponed dreams, skills you want to develop, experiences outside love. Pour energy into your life, not his silence. 6. Lean on your support system. Isolation amplifies anxiety. Connection dissolves it. Share honestly with trusted friends who hold space without judgment. Choose confidants who remind you of your strength, not those who fuel your fear. 7. Practice non-attachment. Non-attachment is clarity, not coldness. Hold space for possibility without gripping outcomes. Tell yourself, if he returns with consistency, I welcome that. If he doesn't, I trust life's redirection. Stay open without sacrificing peace. 8. Set your emotional standards. Clarify. What you need: open communication, emotional consistency, mutual investment. Make these non-negotiable. When clear on your standards, you stop chasing those who cannot meet them and begin attracting those who can. The daily practice. Returning to yourself is a daily practice. Each morning, set your intention. Today, I choose peace over panic, growth over grasping. Each evening, reflect. Where did I hold my center today? Some days you'll stumble, and that's okay. Victory lies in persistence. Every time you choose self-care over self-abandonment, you build resilience. In time, what once felt unbearable becomes effortless. One day, you'll wake up, check your phone, and realize it doesn't matter whether his name appears or not. Because you are full. Because you are home. The power was always yours. Let's return to the real question that changes everything. Who am I when he doesn't? His silence is not your story. His withdrawal does not define your value. What defines you is who you become in those empty spaces. You now understand. You are not here to chase anyone. You are not here to shrink yourself for anyone. You are not here to beg for love that requires convincing. You were not born to orbit around someone else's indecision. You were born to stand in the center of your own life, fully rooted, fully sovereign. The woman who stands firm when others waver, who holds her ground when others retreat, who chooses her peace above temporary validation. That woman is unforgettable. Not because she plays games or withholds affection, but because her strength springs from the most magnetic source: wholeness. She does not need a man to complete her. She chooses a partner who adds to her already beautiful life. And if he cannot meet her there, she lets him go, not from bitterness, but from wisdom, because her life is too precious to be spent managing someone else's uncertainty. This is not about becoming cold or detached. It is about loving from overflow, not desperation. It is about offering your heart freely without abandoning yourself. It is about knowing that your softness is not weakness and your standards are not too high. It is about living with a quiet confidence that whispers, I am whole, I am worthy, I am enough. The silence you once feared has become your greatest teacher, guiding you back to the one person who is always waiting to be chosen, you. And that, dear friend, is where your real power has always lived. If today's message touched something deep inside you, if you saw your own story in Sarah's journey, know that you are not alone. We have all been there. We have all handed our power to people who did not deserve it. The difference is, you now have the tools to take it back. I would love to hear your experience. Have you faced this kind of silence? Have you found your way back to your center? Share your story in the comments. Your words might help another woman reclaim her own strength. If you found value in this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more conversations like this, honest, raw, and filled with timeless wisdom. And if you know someone who needs to hear this right now, send it to them. Sometimes a single perspective shift can change a life forever. Remember, your power was never in his hands. It was always in yours. Stay grounded, stay whole. And as always, keep returning to yourself.